right. We're double dipping, and then we're gonna have lots of donos to go over. Ben Brapiro, my stinky, stinky friend. What arguments are you bringing to the table today?
There's this very popular test online. It's called the political compass test. And
cool.
Basically, it scans on two separate axes. From left to right, on the x-axis, it shows communism and collectivism, to neoliberalism and libertarianism on the right. And then on the y-axis, it goes authoritarian fascism down to anarchism and libertarianism. We'll see how accurate it is. If the scale is correct in any way, I will end up in the right libertarian category. I mean, that's obviously where I am. I think the premises of the questions are incredibly stupid. So let's just jump right in. Question number one. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity.
Oh, no. We're getting into this, aren't we? Oh, no. Hold on. No, I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. Fuck. Normal speed. Up the volume on my end. I can barely hear the fucker.
Rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Did Bernie Sanders write this question? What a stupid ass question. Seriously.
Ass? Damn, Ben.
Transnational corporations, which are responsible through the use of free market capitalism for Bernie Sanders, it should primarily.
If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Ah, so we can see what Ben Shapiro takes umbrage with here, because the question implies there is any difference whatsoever between the interests of transnational corporations and humanity, whereas Ben Shapiro is of the opinion that sacrificing millions of people to the stock market is in fact the best way forward for humanity. So for him, you know, this question is deeply offensive because it challenges a presupposition he holds.
Primarily serve humanity. What is through the use of free market capitalism for the dramatic decrease of poverty throughout humanity are now opposed to humanity? So the very phraseology of the question is idiotic.
The very phraseology of the question is idiotic. Fuck me, he's never fucking gotten out of high school mentality. Jesus Christ. Also, notice how Big Brain Shapiro actually can't engage with the question. Even if capitalism and corporations have been responsible for lowering poverty, that does not mean that the interests of humanity and the interests of those corporations is a one-to-one fucking straight line down the road together. Notice that. He's actually too stupid to engage with the hypothetical. He has to respond, serve humanity over transnational corporations. Don't you know capitalism has increased the amount of wealth in the world? Idiot. There is no difference.
But since they're asking this, I'm just going to assume that their premise is wrong and put strongly disagree, because transnational corporations...
See, he actually says that globalist economy should serve transnational corporations over humanity. This dude wants you to die. He wants you to die.
Corporations have been a lot more helpful to humanity than top-down government-induced schemes.
Nobody is talking about top-down government-induced schemes. Nobody has mentioned that. He read this very simple question. Look, it can be phrased simply, all right? Do you think, if we're going to have a global economy, that we should prioritize the fiduciary gains of corporations or prioritize the betterment of humanity? To which Ben Shapiro, there's no difference between them. Corporations and humanity are one and the same. There's no difference. Everything that benefits the stock market benefits humanity. Thank you for additional money, billionaire fucking super PAC donations. Thank you, media conglomerates and billionaires who keep my show alive. Thank you, yes, serving corporations is serving humanity. But if we are to accept this, juxtaposition, I will lay my life on the line before transnational corporations before even thinking of serving humanity.
Okay, I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I disagree with that. Because what if your country is terrible?
That's a great question, known Zionist Ben Shapiro. I would love to ask you that in person.
No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. And I generally agree that it's silly to be proud of just where you were born. You should be proud of the country because the country actually doesn't suck.
Wait, what? You fucking brainlet. That was the question. You shouldn't be proud of where you were born. I was born at the coordinates 36172 by 84570, and I have no particular feelings about those coordinates. I am, however, proud to be an American because our country doesn't suck. So, yeah, I'd say it is pretty dumb to be proud of where you were born.
Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree because I don't...
Except when we're talking about Palestinians, Pepe, who just like to live in the dirt and suck nourishment from fucking blown out sewer pipes. You know, As long as we're not talking about the Arabs.
I don't think that races matter in terms of inherent quality. That's silliness. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I disagree with that. And the enemy of my enemy could also be my enemy. Military.
Okay, I mean that's not even really a political question. That's just a dumb philosophical. Yeah. Okay.
Action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Strongly agree. International law is a bunch of crap written by countries that generally have their own priorities. The UN Security Council.
Damn. Same with all law ever. What?
Includes Russia and China. So yeah, I'm going to go with strongly disagree or strongly agree on we can sometimes defy the idiocy of international law, which is an idiotic construct in the first place.
Neocons like Ben Shapiro want perpetual war, so this makes sense to me. It is they want just relentless, nonstop. This is why they push fucking relentless anti-China antagonization. This is why they push the myth that like the Muslim world is trying to build like a new caliphate that's going to invade Western society. I mean, of course he's pro fucking war crimes. Obviously he would be. They need war because war and the existence of a perpetual enemy is a fascist's easiest tool to maintain discipline and austerity domestically.
There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment.
Oh, please. Ben Shapiro, who epically owns libtards and disguises fucking conservative infotainment as actual fucking reasonable analysis. Please agree with this.
Disagree. The reason I say disagree is because there was always that fusion. We just ignored it until the last 5 minutes whenever.
No, there's a pretty specific blend of media news and of entertainment that is unique to our era, but I can understand why Ben Shapiro, here coyly winking at the camera, would not want to impugn people for mixing entertainment and news.
Everybody got mad because...
Speaking of mixing entertainment and news, oh man. Wait, hold on. Do I still have this article up? I do, because I'm a big brain boy. Wait, no I don't. Wait, where is it? This is as good a time as any to mention this. Here we go. Here we go. Listen, this is fantastic. Guys, have you ever posted something so bad as a large media figure? Have you ever posted something so bad that it got deleted by Twitter for being wrong? Recently, Rudy Giuliani, you know this myth about how like drinking pool cleaner will treat COVID-19? Rudy Giuliani and Charlie Kirk, listen to this. Fact, hydroxychloroquine has been shown to have a 100% effective rate treating COVID-19. Yet Democrat Gretchen Whitmer is threatening doctors who prescribe it. If Trump is for something, Democrats are against it. They're okay with people dying if it means opposing Trump. Sick. People have died from taking the chemical they're saying cures COVID-19. Doctors are like, please fucking God, do not listen to these unsubstantiated rumors. But these guys, desperate to get their fucking Trump milkies, all the MAGA hats retweeting their tweet, posted something so wrong and so dangerous that literally led to people's death that they ended up getting their tweets deleted by Twitter. That's unprecedented. Twitter has not historically taken on fake news. Yeah, it's true. If you're dead, you actually can't die from coronavirus anymore. That is true. That is true. So when you hear people like Ben Shapiro, who's worked with Charlie Kirk many times in the past, talking about how there's no blend of entertainment and news, keep in mind that they're okay literally pushing people to die as long as it gets them like a big tweet. As long as if Trump says it, if Trump says something, they have to defend it. It doesn't matter how wrong it is.
Conservatives were suddenly creating news. Okay, the economy. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Strongly.
Toyovich. No?
I disagree, and World War I proved that that's a bunch of nonsense.
What did World War I fucking prove, you impotent fucking retard? Jesus, World War I? What a smug fucking dismissal. No. World War I proved otherwise. What the fuck are you talking about? World War I saw a massive fucking increase in socialist mobilization across the developed world. World War I showed that a bunch of pithy national alliances pitted against one another belied the fact that humans fundamentally had no interest in serving their nation state's interest. World War I was literally the fucking story of how national differences did not meaningfully divide people. World War I led to the Bolshevik Revolution. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just, but he can say something wrong, then just like smugly walk away from it. How the fuck did this guy become like the golden child of the conservative movement again? I'm pretty sure most of the rando people I've debated on my stream are more intelligent than him.
Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I agree with that, because you can't actually control unemployment. You can only provide the principles necessary in order for an economy to flourish. The only way to control unemployment directly would be through top-down government control, and you could have a horrible economy.
No, that is not the only way you can directly control unemployment. Fucking God, how the fuck do these people not know anything about economics?
With complete employment. That was called the USSR or Cuba.
Yes, societies which have low unemployment, also known as the USSR. What the fuck are you talking about?
Until the last 5 minutes.
There are tons of ways in a market economy with minimal government interference that you can stimulate the economy in such a way as to lessen or increase unemployment.
Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation.
Ben, lay it on me.
Well, I mean, I generally agree, but I wouldn't single out corporations there. Obviously, when you come
I agree, but hold on. Let's not be unfair to my corporate benefactors here. I know the question was specifically about them, but let me simp for 5 minutes about how actually corporations are God's gift to humankind.
To environmental regulations, you do require environmental regulations. You have the tragedy of the commons. You have the ability to regulate externalities. From each according to...
What the fuck are you talking about? Well, let's just not single out corporations. Tragedy of the commons, not just them. Okay, moving on.
To his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea.
I've got to strongly disagree because he vaguely remembers this has something to do with Marx.
Strongly disagree.
Yep.
Because need should not dictate either moral worth or the morality of the thing that you need. It's a sad...
Yep. I mean, that from the horse's mouth right there, right? Need should not dictate moral worth. The fact that people need food, water, and shelter to survive has no bearing on the morality of providing people those things. He wants you to die, folks.
Reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer.
Strongly disagree. The free market has innovated bottled water to be the supreme Dasani experience. No civilization past. You know what they say? To not have bottled water, the USSR. Look what happened there, folks.
Product. Strongly disagree. Why is that?
Yep.
Why is that bad? I'm confused. I mean, you can still get it from the tap. Like, seriously, like, if you don't like the bottled water, just don't drink the bottled water. It seems pretty...
What's my answer to this question? My answer is the same as his, but for different reasons, okay?
Fantastic that you can go to the store and buy basically whatever you want. Land...
Again, exactly like I said, he has to jerk off fucking market capitalism.
Shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold.
Strongly disagree. Making sure the uber wealthy have exclusive rights to bargain and barter over the finite land that we have on this planet is the only way to organize a just society.
Strongly disagree, because what would the alternative be? That it would be all government owned and allocated by the government?
Yeah! Eat shit, Ben! Absolutely! That is, yep, true! Correct! What's the alternative? We decommodify it, and people can actually live where they want without having to pay exorbitantly overinflated rents from people who make their income off stealing the wealth of others? That sounds unreasonable. Highly illogical.
It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society.
Strongly disagree. There is nothing... Oh God, I'm not doing any JQ stuff or anything, but there is nothing more moral than usury and landlords and people who make all of their money off of the exploited labor of others. That's what makes society go round.
Again, the premise of that question is so ridiculous. A lot of this—
He can't even engage with it because the question implies that there's a difference. The question implies there's a difference between people who work for their money and people who just make their money off the labor of other people. He can't acknowledge that difference because he has to pretend that stockholders and landowners and banks are work in the same way that what we do is work. Well, what you guys do.
Time when people suggest that people are just manipulating money, what they are actually doing is mitigating risk and assessing risk and providing capital and liquidity markets that allow you to go out and spend on your company, on your business, or allow you to have a credit card for it.
Notice complete mumbo jumbo. None of that had anything to do with what was being asked. Nothing to do whatsoever.
Example. So I'm going to go with disagree on that one. Maybe strong.
Well, strongly disagree because credit cards exist.
Strongly disagree. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade.
What is he going to go for here? I don't actually know.
Agree, but only for national security reasons.
Oh, yeah, Ben Shapiro, libertarian capitalist, very free market. Oh, I'm super in favor of corporations. Regulation? What? Corporations in the free hand of the marketplace are always the most effective way at meeting human need. Oh, well, protectionism. Well, only if it's for national security, of course. Thank you, government.
So maybe disagree? Maybe I'll put disagree because it's generally not necessary in trade. It's only necessary for national security reasons. It's not necessary for...
What do you mean national security reasons? What does that mean? Like getting steel from China is a national security risk? What the fuck does that mean? I legit... Like, does he think, like, protectionism has something to do with, like, keeping our nuclear secrets from others? Yeah, maybe it has to do with oil, except we still import a fuck ton of oil.
Economic reasons. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders.
Strongly agree?
Agree. I mean, agree. That's what a company is designed to do. It's designed to provide a profit to its shareholders, and that has a bunch of ancillary benefits. It's not designed for employment. It's not designed for redistribution. The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly agree. And by the way,
lowest tax brackets in the history of the country over the past century. Of course, naturally, the rich are too highly... Oh, absolutely.
I agreed with this when I was making 50, 60 grand a year. Of course the rich are too highly taxed on a net basis.
I like how his immediate answer isn't to explain why the rich are too highly taxed, but for him to point out that he supported this position before he was rich.
The rich are paying for nearly everything in the country right now via taxation. Those with the
rich are paying for nearly everything right now via taxation. Really? Really? Is that true? Damn, it's just all those Amazon bucks are being channeled into public works, you know? I mean, of course he's going to say this. His benefactors all want lower taxes, so he's going to say this no matter what.
Ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care.
Of course. Why should we decommodify the medical industry, even though market economies only function on a basis of presuppositions, such as the ability for the buyer to negotiate their product, and the medical industry doesn't allow for that because there's an immediacy and no price ceiling that comes along with medical emergencies? Well,
again, the phraseology of the question is so ass backwards because, again, the question isn't whether those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. The question is whether a system that allows people to pay for better medical care also allows people who are poorer to get better medical care. Meaning that...
See, he takes issue with the juxtaposition because his lie is that a for-profit medical system is better for poor people too. He can't answer it because it acknowledges that there is a juxtaposition between a market-based medical care system and a medical care system which privileges the wealthy over the poor, which is factually the case. Obviously, a system where you pay for your medical treatment is going to privilege the wealthy. But even that would acknowledge too much. Even that would acknowledge too much for him. So he has to pretend that that there's no privilege of medical care. He has to be like, oh, well, sure, the wealthy can get better medical care, but also the poor can get better medical care than they could if this was Venezuela.
Have access to higher standards of medical care. The question is whether a system that allows people to pay for better medical care also allows people who are poorer to get better medical care. Meaning that when rich people pay more for medical care, where do you think that money goes? It goes into the medical system and is then reinvested in drug development, reinvested in medical innovation.
Damn, then I wonder why we have literally the least efficient medical care system with horrible outcomes compared to our developmental contemporaries. Yeah, guys, remember how Cuba basically blows us the fuck out in every possible way concerning their medical care? How they have better doctors, better fucking like treatment development in many cases, and they've done this in a tiny fucking country that is largely impoverished and is living under a fucking embargo? Isn't that wild? Damn, well, don't just pretend that's not the case, okay? Any contradictory information completely invalidates Ben Shapiro's arguments, okay?
So the answer is agree. But again, like, you can tell who wrote these questions. I mean, these questions are obviously written by people who are...
This is like the BBC interview. He's so fucking biased and so caught up in his own world that even being phrased in partial questions reads to him like a leftist conspiracy. When he was being interviewed by that conservative guy on BBC, and he was like, I can tell that you're a crazy leftist just by the way you're asking me simple questions about my beliefs. And he's reading this fucking political quiz, and they're just the simplest, just the most factually, just ideologically neutral questions imaginable. And he's like, I'll continue this quiz, but only after pointing out how ideologically biased it is.
Very much of the political left. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Agree, but it depends on what you mean by mislead the public. Obviously.
Damn, I wonder... Charlie Kirk is the proprietor of Turning Point USA. He had to have a tweet deleted after he was advocating for people to hoard poison and use it as a cure to a pandemic. I don't know. What threshold do we set, huh? I don't know. There's a lot of wiggle room. It isn't poison. The way people are using it without a doctor's prescription, just advocating during a pandemic while people are incredibly fucking fearful that this miracle treatment can work without any kind of doctor's supervision or any sort of like ulterior fucking direction as to how they should obtain this chemical. Yeah, okay, that might as well be you hoarding poison, okay?
Obviously, you don't actually have to have the government penalize those businesses. That's fraud. I mean, if they defraud somebody, you can have a tort suit on that basis. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies.
Adam Smith would have said this, by the way. Remember, capitalism doesn't function in monopolies. Even Adam Smith, the fucking big daddy boy, believed that you needed to prevent monopolies from forming because they inhibit the ability for people to make free and fair choices concerning their commodity purchases.
I'm going to say disagree only in the sense that a natural monopoly is nearly impossible. It is very...
How many of you have good choices when it comes to your internet service provider? Raise your hand if you have a variety of options when it comes to your internet service provider. Oh, really? Oh, what about your electrical company? Oh? Oh, really? Your electrical too? What about your water service provider? What about all of your utilities? Oh, okay. Sure, interesting. Do you know how many fucking medical plans operate in my area? It's not very many. Fascinating. Hey, did you know that basically all fucking food brands are owned by like 6 companies? Did you know that after multiple financial collapses, banks have been consolidated into smaller and smaller fucking high-tier financial organizations that are at this point so large and so powerful that any meaningful challenge to them would bankrupt the entire economy? Interesting. Hey, did you know it's basically impossible to boycott corporations anymore because even if a corporation does something you don't like, they're probably owned by a corporation that's owned by a corporation that's owned by a corporation that owns everything else you could buy as an alternative to that product? But yeah, natural monopoly is just completely impossible. Oh, remember when Microsoft had to give Apple money so that Apple could stay afloat back in the 1990s because it was the only way to keep the government from labeling Microsoft a monopoly? That was really fun. I remember that. That was pretty cool. The entire burgeoning computer industry owned pretty much exclusively by one man and his company, and he was able to gouge prices and stifle innovation on account of that. Hey, did you guys know that there are basically no meaningful online delivery services anymore except for Amazon? Did you know that Amazon is so powerful and operates at such a market scale that the ability for a startup to now create an alternative delivery system is basically impossible because it would take billions of dollars in groundwork investment to even get started? That's what's called a natural monopoly, folks. Did you know that mathematically speaking, more and more wealth is being concentrated in the hands of a smaller and smaller group of people? Fascinating. Oh, we've got Brainlet Alert in chat. Drew Bagger, Newegg isn't a thing, Devosh. Damn, Drew Bagger, you're completely right. Amazon isn't a monopoly because of Newegg. Do you want to take a look at the annual fucking income of Amazon as compared to Newegg? Oh yeah, Newegg. Oh yeah. Oh, the competitor to Amazon, single-handedly taken down the monopoly status. Absolutely. Fucking Brainlet, dude. Holy shit. Natural monopolies are everywhere. And you know what's cool? They were even more common back before trust busting and corporate breakups happened around the turn of the century. Back in the fucking 19th century, do you think you had any goddamn control over what services and commodities you had access to as a citygoer? Some people lived in corporate towns. They lived in corporate towns. They had to go to the corporate fucking commissary to spend money that they were given by the corporate commissary on overpriced goods that they could only get from the corporate commissary because they would have had to ride a horse 6 hours out to the next town to buy something else, except they fucking can't because they're not paid in dollars. They're paid in fucking corporate bucks, which are only valued at the fucking rentier and commissary at the fucking corporate town. Government had to shut that shit down. Government. Not corporations, the government did. No natural monopolies.
Difficult to establish a natural monopoly. The typical way that monopolies are generated is because governments have approved them, is because governments have sponsored the monopoly.
Wrong! Just wrong. Just factually incorrect. Now, obviously, a government can prop up a monopoly, but this is such a common libertarian talking point. I hear this all the time from libertarians. A market functions perfectly without government interference. Really? What about these monopolies? Well, the monopolies only exist because of the government. Well, what about all these monopolies historically that have developed with essentially no fucking backing from the government and just because of natural accumulation, which is an economic process that even the fucking forebearers of capitalism acknowledged? Well, those aren't real monopolies. There must have been government involvement somewhere. Just shit all the time.
The freer the market, the freer the people.
I strongly agree. There is no such thing as an externality.
Strongly agree. Okay, next page. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly agree. All authority.
No justification on that one. All authority should be questioned. How do you think he's going to answer on this one?
Should be questioned. Agree. I mean, I think that we should always ask the basis for the authority. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
What the fuck does that mean?
What? One of the great misnomers in all of
Is this like a criminal justice punitive sort of thing? I don't know.
Biblical history is the notion that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is meant to be taken literally. There's entire swaths of the Talmud dedicated to discussing the fact that this is meant in terms of monetary pricing, that the cost of an eye should be repaid by compensatory damages.
What the fuck is he talking about? So he's talking about the Bible? Yeah, the Bible quote? Yeah, okay. So is this about punitive justice?
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, disagree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis.
Oh, I'm ready for this one. Watch it. Watch Ben Shapiro single-handedly push America. It's funny, by the way, that people like Ben Shapiro will jerk off Western culture and then will jerk off Western culture and then he'll say, oh, preserving art that doesn't make money? Nope.
Agree. By the way, that doesn't mean you can't have a nonprofit. Most museums are run on a nonprofit basis.
Yeah, what about the ones that can't survive as a nonprofit? What the fuck do you mean? Nonprofits still have to make money. Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Just because something is a nonprofit doesn't mean it doesn't operate on a commercial basis. What the fuck do you mean? Wait, does he think those things are just like juxtapositions? Does he think those are different things? Nonprofits still have to pay rent, dipshit. What do you think a nonprofit means? You hand a slip to the government and then it's just like, oh, we don't have any expenses anymore. We just sit here and there's no rent and there's no electricity bill and no utility bill and we just show people art. What the fuck do you mean? I think he actually think nonprofit means that you get like taken out of the market bubble, because there's no other reason that he would have said that. So yeah, Ben Shapiro, totally fine with culture and art dying if it can't make enough money. Completely agree. Nice, Ben.
Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Agree, but they should make it that parents are truant if they do not pass certain educational standards for their children for the welfare of kids. But suggesting that we're going to...
Oh, wait. A contradiction emerges. So here's Ben Shapiro propping up his lunatic fan base's homeschooling fetish by saying that, you know, you shouldn't have to go to school. You just have to meet certain educational requirements. But then, who would dictate the requirements if not the government?
Force you to send your kid to a public school as opposed to homeschooling. That's why the question is a little bit vague.
Jesus Christ, dude. This question isn't anti-homeschooling.
Pass certain educational... Agree.
This school should not make classroom attendance compulsory. This is not anti-homeschooling. This is just asking whether or not people should be should be required to get schooling at all.
But they should run for the welfare of kids. But suggesting that we're going to force you to send your kid to a public school as opposed to homeschooling, that's why the question is a little bit vague. What's
my take? Hey, here's some true-ass shit, okay? If you make schooling non-compulsory, you know who's going to drop out of school to go to work at fucking 15? Poor kids. Poor kids are going to have even less of an educational opportunity because there's a financial incentive for them to not go to school fully. That means that the generational poverty is going to be perpetuated even worse because none of them have a fucking high school education, okay? That's just a fact of the matter, all right? That's just how it is, baby. That's how it works. If you say, oh yeah, I mean, you should go to school, but you don't have to, then Brett, I don't know, imagine a name, okay? Fucking Daniel is going to be pressured by his parents to drop out of school so they can help with work as soon as possible. And that's not Brett's fault. At 14, he's got to worry about stuff like eating. He's got to worry about stuff like making sure his fucking parents' medical bills don't end up getting them locked up. Are we really willing to morally condemn a poor 14-year-old for not being willing to stick it through and make the educational decisions that will lead to the best possible long-term outcome?
Like what kind of classroom attendance? Are we talking homeschooling or are we talking public schooling? All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind.
I don't know. How's that Israeli, how's the Gaza wall coming along for you, Ben? I don't know. I'm in favor. I'm taking that wall down. I ever get the chance. Elect me Prime Minister of Israel. I'll one state you bitches, okay? It'll be a Palestinian state. You fucking Israelites will just have to get along. They were there first.
Again, the way this is phrased is so ridiculous. Well, what does that mean? Different sorts of people should keep to their own kind.
It's obviously asking you if it's okay to be racist, dipshit.
I think that people should marry people who have similar values. But I don't know if by kind they mean ethnicity or race, in which case completely disagree. So it completely depends on what they mean by the question. There's inherent vagary to these questions. And
Vagary! Dude! You've had media training! Come on, man! I haven't had... It's vagueness. I haven't had media training. I just stream. This guy's propped up by fucking billionaires.
These questions are designed to elicit responses that are quote-unquote racist so they can label you conservative for being racist. I understand that's what they're doing here.
See, he's accusing it of being a leftist conspiracy to bait him. How this guy's so fucking sensitive. Holy shit. Well, I see this for what it is. This is clearly a bait question to try. So conservatives will say that they should stick to their own kind, and then you'll label us falsely, by the way, as racist. Let us say for a moment that I answered yes in this question. How exactly would you interpret that? What the fuck are you talking about?
But the questions are deliberately written in vague fashion to elicit those responses.
No, they're not. Everyone knows what it means. Oh yeah, someone wrote out. Oh yeah, here's question number 8. People should stick to their own kind. Ben Shapiro. Well, I don't know exactly what they mean by to their own kind. Do they mean people who speak the same language or share the same basic values when it comes to schooling and finance? Well, about that I agree, of course, because languages, when shared, allow people to communicate. Let's say, for example, that if I spoke with a person who didn't share my language, I would have very much difficulty communicating with them, and communication is the bedrock of a... No, it means fucking race and ethnicity!
So, knowing what they want, I'm going to go strongly disagree.
Okay.
Sometimes have to spank their children.
Fact, but just this is a factual answer, by the way. It's not good to spank your kids. Like we have pediatric psychologists. It's just not good to do it.
I generally disagree with that. I'm not in favor of spanking, and I don't spank my kids.
Okay, I mean, okay. I don't know why he wouldn't go strongly disagree, so he doesn't trigger his fucking TradCon audience.
It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents.
I say strongly agree on this shit. Absolutely. Parents don't own their children. Kids can have secrets. I mean, if their secret is like, I crashed the car, like maybe they should share that secret or something. But like, yeah, of course. But Ben is a strong authoritarian parent. I bet he's going to say, disagree. It's not natural. But let's see.
I mean, I agree that it is natural.
Oh?
It is also wrong as a general matter. So I don't know what they're going for there. I'll say agree on...
Oh, there we go. It's natural, but it's wrong. Okay, nice way to fucking... Oh, God. He fence sits on the easiest questions. How do you fence sit this hard? Jesus fucking Christ. You know that seam that goes down your ball sack? You know, like you have a ball sack like the coin purse, and then you've got like the seam that runs down it? His is a groove like fucking 3 inches deep, because he is just non-stop straddling the fucking fence, dude. Well, it is immoral for children to keep secrets from their parents. As the property of the parent, children should offer any and all information they can concerning their personal well-being and lives. But it is, of course, natural because children are rapscallions who will do immoral things sometimes because they haven't really developed a full understanding of the social construct.
Whether it's natural, but I like that the survey immediately seems to identify natural with morally correct, which of course...
I'm gonna fucking kill myself, dude. It's not a conspiracy to fuck you over. It's very simple phrasing.
Of course, it's silly. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Agree? The prime...
Oh, why not strongly agree, Ben? I thought we were a libertarian. I thought a libertarian would be strongly in favor of an individual's right to possess marijuana and not be, prosecuted for it by the big bad government. Come on, just gotta make sure he doesn't alienate those Republican fans too much.
Function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find...
Strongly agree. There is no benefit whatsoever to education outside of job training. The history of social and economic development has been predicated on auteurs ingeniously pursuing the things they care about most. The world runs on cynical baits to a cynical effort to find the schooling major that increases your likelihood of getting a job to the greatest degree.
Jobs. Strongly agree. I think moral education is generally the preserve of the parents.
By the way, remember that the literal founders of our country believed in education because it was a spiritually elevating experience that grants power to the individual. Remember, if you ever want to hear dipshits like Ben Shapiro talk about how they care about the founding fathers of the Constitution or anything, the Enlightenment thinkers who initially proposed free public education, the stuff that we have still to this day, did so not because they wanted people to be better at jobs, but because they thought it was a foundationally enlightening principle that allows the individual to elevate themselves no matter where they stood in society. It's supposed to be the great equalizer, you know?
People with serious inheritable disability should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree. I don't know what we're calling it the Woodrow Wilson eugenicist there.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right, cool. I'm not a eugenicist either.
The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline.
By the way, quick one, this is also a factually correct or incorrect answer that Ben Shapiro could throw out here. I'm pretty sure pediatric psychologists, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, have found that children develop a much greater sense of independence and self-esteem if they're given a lot of leeway and they're taught not just to accept the word of their parents, but to fundamentally reason out the reason why their parents are wrong. Just a little suggestion, guys. It's not enough for your parent... It's not enough as a parent to just tell your kid they're wrong. You want to teach them why they're wrong because you want them to respect wisdom and reasoning. You don't want them to just respect you because you're an authority figure.
Obviously disagree. It's an important thing for kids to accept discipline because they don't know things because they're kids. It is not the most important thing for children. The most important thing for children is to be taken seriously and develop actual rational modes of thought.
I mean... I mean, if again, like, you know, I'm not an ideologue. If he says something I agree with, he'll say something I agree with. There is value, of course, in teaching children discipline. Discipline is a valuable characteristic. Can I be real with you guys? You guys remember Jocko Williams, Jocko, whatever his name, what Jocko? You know what I'm talking about, Jocko. Yeah. We have an emote. Jocko Willink. That's it, Willink. Jocko Willink has said that discipline is freedom. And I actually agree with him. Let me give you an example why. This is a bit of a tangent, but really quickly. Jocko Willink says discipline is freedom. When he says this, what he means is your ability to stick to your fucking ground and get the shit you need to get done is a prerequisite to being able to enjoy life free. So the ability to have self-discipline, to get your chores done, to get your work done, to pursue the goals that you know will eventually lead to you having like a more positive outcome, that self-discipline is the bedrock that allows you to have more free time and free energy to actually pursue other higher intellectual pursuits. Whereas there are a lot of people who constantly procrastinate, who never actually like take care of the problems in their life, and these become burdens, anchors that hang from them and keep them from living their life most, you know, authentically. And I agree with that. Have you ever noticed? Okay, one last thing before we continue with the Ben Shipster video. Have you ever noticed that some days you wake up and you have a free day, you have a completely free day, no work, no school, and you have a lot of stuff that you need to do, and you just really don't want to do it, so you kind of like, you wake up and you shower and you like play some games, you play some video games and you're fun, but the whole time it's burdening you in the back of your head, and you're like, oh God, I got something to do, but whatever, I'll get to it after lunch, or I'll get to it at 4 p.m., it's already 4:13, I'll get to it at 5 p.m., and eventually like your whole day is just fucking ruined because you're burdening yourself with the stress of work that you need to do. And some days you wake up, it's fucking 8:30 a.m., you shower, it's 9 a.m., you're like, I've got homework, I've got chores, I've got fucking dishes to do. Done. I'll put my favorite podcast on. Fucking take the shit I gotta get. Fucking taking them out. Then the smoke clears. It's 11:34. You've done all your work. You've done all your work. All of it. The clothes are done. The dishes are washed. The carpet's vacuumed. The floors are swept. You've bought your groceries. You've finished your homework. You've responded to the text. You called your mom to check up with her. You've done everything. You've done all of it. That was discipline. And because of that discipline, you now have the freedom to spend the rest of your day in a state of enlightened serendipitous peace. That is discipline equals freedom. Self-discipline. All right. Okay, that's just my self-help advice, okay? Yeah, that's called executive dysfunction. It happens a lot, folks.
There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. Well,
no, Ben shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. What do you got, Ben? I know it's an old tweet, but man, your politics have not changed for the better in the past decade. Oh, no.
This is phrased as ridiculous. By
oh, good. Oh, it's gonna give me COVID just watching this fucking video, dude. This question, which asks me whether or not I'm a fucking racist, is clearly a leftist fucking psyop.
Peoples, what they are now implying is that if you say that there is an uncivilized culture, that you are labeling a people, meaning an ethnicity or a race. So the very phraseology of the question—
I said it again! Phraseology! Why?
—is asinine. But if we rephrase the question, this is the question I'll answer, so now it's clear. There are no savage and civilized cultures. There are only different cultures.
Nope! He sidesteps it because he's a fucking weaselly little racist and he has to turn into a culture war shit. Obviously, there are some cultures that are less quote-unquote civilized than others. I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I think American culture is better than Saudi Arabian culture. There, I've said it. I think women should be able to drive. on their own, and I think that women should be able to leave the house without being escorted by a man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I say, there you go, okay? I've said it. I think it's true. I think it's true. Now, the question is differentiating between people and culture. I understand why Ben Shapiro is stumbling on this one, because this takes at least 85 IQ points to understand, but I will elucidate it so that in the hopes that he one day watches this video and comes to understand it himself, okay? The question is, do you believe that people fundamentally are more savage or civilized than others as a product of immutable characteristics? Their race, their ethnicity, their religion, or no, that's not immutable, my apologies. Their race, their ethnicity, their geography, you know? Or do you just think it's cultural differences? This is a very big one, because watch this. Watch me fucking, I can answer this so easily. Saudi Arabian culture is brutal and deplorable to me. From everything I've read about it, Saudi Arabian culture seems fucking horrible. But the people of Saudi Arabia are every bit, fundamentally, as intelligent, compassionate, reasonable, civilized as I am. Now, maybe the culture makes them sometimes act like fuckwads, but that's just what they were taught. That's not who they are. That's not fundamentally who they are. That's my belief. It's very simple. The people are all basically the same, all over the world, basically the same people. Culturally, we have very severe differences sometimes, and some cultures are better than other cultures. I'll absolutely take that bullet. But peoples are not. People are products of their environment. And if you don't like the people, it's probably because they come from a bad environment, not because there's something wrong in their skulls. But I don't think Ben's going to give the question the same shot that I did.
Strongly disagree. Obviously, that's not true. There are some cultures that suck. And if you don't believe me, check out the Taliban.
The Taliban isn't a culture, you fucking imbecile. You fucking troglodyte. It's a terrorist organization that we propped up. What? Maybe there's something wrong with the culture of America that we propped up terrorist, radical, fundamentalist Islamic terrorist groups just because we thought it would help keep Afghanistan from getting too communist?
Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy.
Remember, if you're not willing to work, you die. That's it, folks. If you don't want to work, you die. That's it. If you're not willing to work, that's it. You're worthless. You're excised from society. Work or die, motherfucker. That's what life is about. That's what life is about. Humane Ben Shapiro. If you don't want to work, guess you'll die. Whoops. Sorry. You exist to provide meat to the machines of capital owners. Guess I'll die. Whoops.
With more cheerful things. Generally agree.
When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. You agree with that? No wonder these people keep so much fucking trauma suppressed. Jesus Christ. No, if you're troubled, think about it. What? Wait, what? Yeah, mask glued on. Wait, what kind of question is this? This is the easiest gimme.
It's better. I mean, wallowing in things is not usually a great solution.
Nobody said wallowing. They said think on it. Think about your problems so you can fix them. What? Guys, hey. Been feeling a clawing sense of emptiness inside of you? Kohl's is having a sale. Kohl's new Easter Spring Fashion Week. Now get 2 turtleneck sweaters for $35 and an extra pair of jeans for just $40. Just don't think about it, okay? Did you know there's a new iPhone coming out? Just don't think about it, all right? Deep feeling of alienation, feeling like society isn't really working for you anymore. No friends, no family, nobody cares about you, no relationship, no hopes, no job prospects. Everyone's just bouncing around in the gig economy. No future, no 401k, no social security, no nothing. Hey, don't worry about it. There's a new Zelda coming out.
First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Disagree. What's good for the most successful corporations is...
The only reason he disagrees with this one is because he's thinking of Israel. We immediately integrated into the state of Israel. There were no interracial or interethnic tensions that went alongside the formation of the Israel state.
Is always ultimately good for all of us.
Oh, wait, what?
Disagree, because many successful corporations are looking for government handouts or bailouts. No broadcast.
I can't believe him. I can't believe him. I actually can't believe him. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us, and the only reason he said no is because sometimes those corporations ask for government help. What a fucking cunt, dude. Holy shit. I think in any just world, Ben Shapiro would be like hit on the head, and he would wake up with no memory of his past life, and he would spend the rest of his life as the wage slave he wants everyone else to be for him. Holy shit, dude. That's all he's like, corporations not acting to the benefit of humanity? Well, of course, sometimes they ask for subsidies.
Institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Strongly agree.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because nothing should ever receive public funding. There should be no government. There should be absolutely no money coming from the government to any social or public programs. There should be no culture. There should just be monolithic corporations that preside over all of us. Fuck me, I feel like I sound like a dog whistling Nazbol when I talk about protecting culture, but like, fuck me, dude. Capitalism has obliterated modern culture. You guys know that, right? There's a reason why every fucking small town in America looks the same, because they all have the same goddamn gas stations, the same goddamn fast food, the same goddamn Ace Hardware store, the same goddamn car dealerships, the same goddamn tiny old town from back when the town was actually unique, segmented, and surrounded by fucking glass box office buildings. Every single fucking town in this country looks the same. This is the de-beautification, the uglification of America being orchestrated by slimy little fucking beetle men like Ben Shapiro, to whom the only allegiance any individual should serve is their nation in wartime, and at all other times their corporate overlords. Every fucking aspect of your life, from birth to death, should be maximized to increase the likelihood of you being of use to a fucking corporation. And that's it. From beginning to end, there is nothing in life but the profits of the people who pay his fucking salary.
Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counter-terrorism.
Oh, you got a tough one, because now you're pretending to be a libertarian, but you also have a bunch of dumb fuck autocrat fascists who are in favor of shit like the Patriot Act.
In the United States, I'm going to go slightly disagree, but I'm kind of torn on this one. I'm like between agree and disagree, honestly. A significant...
Big boy Ben Shapiro, libertarian man, totally okay with the Patriot Act. Oh yeah, totally okay with the government reading all of our shit, attempting to decrypt all fucking online traffic. Oh yeah, libertarian small government. Why are all these small government fucking conservatives so in favor of the police state, of the increase of the military-industrial complex, and of government government surveillance? Everyone got to have a personal buddy-buddy relationship with your FBI, your FBI agent, you know?
The significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids...
Remember, when government big because giving money to poor, that's bad. When government big because spending trillions of dollars on a security apparatus to read everything you do online, that's good. I'm a libertarian.
All the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Strongly disagree. One-party states are garbage. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Disagree.
Wait, if you believe that it's not just wrongdoers that need to be worried, then why don't you think it's a problem that there's so much government surveillance?
The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree.
Of course.
In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Strongly disagree. Abstract art that doesn't...
His entire fucking... This is the problem with libertarians. Libertarians don't believe authority exists unless it's coming from the state. So, even though Ben Shapiro has just spent an hour and a half rambling about how we should be deferential and give all societal worth to corporations, which are fundamentally authoritarian organizations, do you think corporations are democracies? Hey guys, any of you, go to your job and then try to hold a vote on whether or not your manager best represents the interest of your coworkers, okay? Tell me how that goes, all right? Tell me how many hours you last before you're kicked to the can. Businesses are authoritarian. This is ideologically incomprehensible. Ben Shapiro can't simultaneously claim to be anti-authoritarian and then be incredibly deferential to the most authoritarian economic system that we have in this country.
Doesn't represent anything, shouldn't be considered art at all. Agree.
We all know the classic, don't we?
Lennon's Imagine is a monstrosity. It is the worst thing that ever was created. The single worst song in human history. The morality that it spouts is just spew. It's moral spew. It's worse than that. I would take every copy of this song and I would take it to a bonfire and I would burn it. We'll play a little bit of this garbage. Oh, pretentious piano chords to it. Imagine there's no heaven. There isn't for you, buddy. What he just said is the most immoral thing you could possibly say. Okay, imagine all the people living for today means you don't plan for the future. It means you don't care about your kids over this pretentious garbage piano music. I think this is the entire Democratic Party.
So, as we all know, Ben Shapiro is a highly refined artistic critique sensibility. Just a truly top-tier appreciation. By the way, there's no such thing as abstract art that doesn't represent anything. Even abstract art has meaning.
I mean, like, if you give me a blank canvas and tell me that it's art, you're an idiot. In criminal justice...
I don't know. I mean, you're in opposition to actual artistic scholars on that one. What does a blank canvas mean? Could it be a meta-commentary on the nature of performative art? Could it be a satire of the extent to which we value the presentation of art over its actual content? I don't know. It's art to me, though. Everyone seems to pretty much agree. Art is just stuff that evokes emotion in you. And art is anything that can be discussed as art. There's value to all sorts of stuff. And by the way, fun little thing, you know, for all of the shit that Ben Shapiro talks about being anti-authoritarian and anti-communist, you know what happened around the turn of the century in the artistic world back in Russia? Back before the Russian Revolution, there was and immediately after, there was a renaissance of highly abstract performative art. Like, we're talking all the weird shapes, baby. This is some crazy ass modern stuff, okay? Real wacky. I love it, okay? I think it looked real good. But then, after the revolution, and after Comrade Stalin ended up taking control of the country, seizing the entire state and building a single-party authoritarian state, all of that art was outlawed or very formally discouraged. And they started producing the type of art that Benny Boy over here would like. Really boring, boilerplate propaganda paintings of glorious, muscular proletarians smiling in solidarity as they salute the sun, which has, like, Stalin's face painted vaguely on it. It's funny, this anti-abstract art take is one that is historically... Oh, shit! My man! Thank you! I'll get to that shortly. Historically speaking, the take that Benny Boy over here has on abstract art aligns pretty strongly with the takes of authoritarians.
This punishment should be more important than rehabilitation.
Anyone who says punishment is more important than rehabilitation is legitimately like 40 IQ. I'm really sorry, guys. This is just... Everything mathematically is better if you prioritize rehabilitation. Everything. You get less recidivism, you're more humane, life gets better for everyone, we live in a utopia, okay? The only reason you would prioritize punishment is if you're a bitch baby little fucking cry bully who just is really, really mad that there are people out there who do crimes and you just want to hurt those people. It's the moral fucking compass of an infant.
Agree.
Yep.
Although there is a third purpose to criminal justice, which is not punishment and not rehabilitation. It's also...
Is he going to say deterrence? Deterrence, which has been absolutely mathematically proven to not be enhanced through more punitive punishment? Is it going to be deterrence? Because there is math out there on how deterrence is not made more significant if you increase the punitive nature of the punishment.
Keeping criminals off the streets. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals.
What? Wait, that completely sidestepped the question. If you're rehabilitating them, then they're fine to go back out on the street. What the fuck what? That had nothing to do with the question. What the fuck are you talking about? Recidivism in this country is astronomically high. We have more fucking prisoners than any other country on earth. And it's because of our punitive system. We create the criminals. We create the criminals. Yeah, this is fascist Benny Boy's take. He just thinks criminals are inherently bad. They just have a bad skull shape, so you just need to keep them in a cage for as long as possible. I thought he was anti-big state. You know how expensive it is to keep all these prisons running? He probably wants to privatize all the prisons.
Strongly agree. Obviously, there are recidivism rates that are extremely high.
Why do you think the recidivism rates are higher in this country than in other countries, Ben? Could it be because recidivism is a product of policy and not just the fucking skull shapes of the people who go to prison? What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Well, naturally, some people are just a waste of rehabilitation, unquestionably. Why do you think recidivism is so high? It's like a 10th our level in other countries. Wait, we can actually look right now. Really quick. Hold on. Sweden has like a few thousand prisoners out of a population of 10 million. They've been closing prisons, and their recidivism rate is around 40%, which is far less than in the US and most European countries. Damn, that means for them, more than half the people that get released never see the inside of a jail cell as well. Yeah, let's take a look at Norway. 20%! 20% in Norway! Whereas America sees 75% of its prisoners reoffend within 5 years! Norway has nearly a fourth of our recidivism rate. Do you think that's because they're, how do you say this, less diverse than we are? Less cultural heterogeneity, perhaps? Well, no. It's actually because their policies are very, very different from ours. And, you know, as it so happens, policy affects outcomes, extraordinarily enough. A lot of people like to pretend the reason America's recidivism rate is so high is because we have black people in this country. And while it is true, Norway does indeed not have as many black people as America, for a wide variety of reasons, the fact that there is a significant difference in recidivism amongst European countries that have similar racial demographics is pretty strong evidence that there is a factor here, outside of ethnicity and race, which significantly increases or decreases recidivism. I don't know. I bet you if I confronted Ben Shapiro on this point in person, he would start going full 1350. I bet you he would start talking about how their country is more homogeneous.
The business person and manufacturer are more important.
Keep in mind, Norway is fucking rich. We're fucking rich! This is the richest country on earth! America is wealthier. Our country could buy and sell all your stupid, weaselly little fucking European countries. We could do it for fun. We could make a loss on the sales because no one wants to buy your degenerate fucking across the fucking Atlantic asses. Piece of shit. The only problem is all the money is in the Cayman Islands and the offshore accounts somewhere in an Amazon vault in Greenland. There's like $14 quadrillion. Important
than the writer and the artist disagree.
Wait, the business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the... Okay, he disagreed. Okay, fine.
Many times the writer and the artist are the font of ideas, but...
Yeah, every time. Literally every time the artist is the one who produces the art. Many times, in fact, it's actually the artist and not the marketing team that produces the ideas. Damn. Wow, really, Ben? Sometimes, you know, not always, but sometimes.
You know, the market decides all of that. I'm not going to decide who's more important and who's less important.
I'm going to kill myself, dude.
And anybody who tries to on one end or the other end is doing the wrong thing. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Notice they don't ask the question about fathers, by the way. They only ask the question about mothers.
Yeah, they're asking about mothers because it's more, let's see.
I say agree, but only because I think that if there were a question that said fathers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers, I would also say agree.
Okay. If he's saying that he applies this equally, whether you're a man or a woman, I still say this is ideologically incoherent because he's already made the argument that that you should live your life for corporations and education is just job training and so on and so forth. But then you got to turn around and say you prioritize child rearing over that? Well, that's not very consistent with a libertarian principle, but it's strangely consistent with a fascist one where people are subservient to the corporate state. And are only expected to prioritize homemaking duties when it comes to producing children for the nation's war machine. Maybe just slightly. Nazi Germany was all about that. Education was to, bring about compliance to the state. I bet that Ben over here is very okay with all the children reciting the creepy, cultish fucking Pledge of Allegiance every day before class. And likewise, corporations are sort of the economic powerhouse of the nation that you're meant to make yourself subservient to. The only time in which there's an exception is for home rearing and family making, which the Nazis were very much in favor of. You know, they'd pay women to pump out more babies. It's some pretty crazy stuff.
Meaning that my first duty is to be a father and to be a husband. Okay, my second duty is to have a job in support of that. So I'm only going to say agree because I hold the exact same thing for men. I understand, again, these questions are designed to elicit the notion that if you're in favor of...
It's a leftist conspiracy. Guys, why is nobody listening to me? These questions, they're all trying to trap me, but I'm too smart. My name is Ben Shapiro. Watch me not fall for this trap as I circumnavigate this incredibly banal question.
Women who have children putting their children first, it's because you're a sexist. But as I say, if the question were about fathers, I would give exactly the same answer.
And just clarify, dude.
Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries.
I know what he's going to answer on this one. Just remember, we have literally invaded countries before. We have literally waged war on foreign countries so that we could get our bananas planted, okay?
Oh, GMOs?
Oh, is this some GM? Oh, wait, I didn't see genetic. This is GMO stuff. GMO politics is really complicated, but the answer is yes.
No, disagree.
I know.
Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Disagree. Depends what the establishment is. Okay, this is about religion.
Okay.
Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly disagree.
Base Shapiro, taking these femoids to town. Get your fucking titty ass. Fucking pentagram tattoo, sprinkle sage in an empty room to get rid of the spirits looking ass out of my fucking community. Get him out of here. Base Shapiro, coming in hot.
You cannot be moral without being religious. Disagree. I don't think you can build a fully moral system based on objective morality on pure subjectivism, but you can certainly be moral without being religious. Charity is...
okay.
Better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged.
There's a factually correct and factually incorrect answer to this one. This is a real simple. You can use math on this one. Libertarians love to jerk off charity because they imagine that the kindness and generosity of the wealthy will be able to provide for the needy, when on the other hand saying that capitalism functions because people are greedy and not predisposed towards acts of generosity. In reality, it's a little sidestep they do to circumnavigate the unavoidable fact that they just don't mind that much if poor people die.
Agree? Some people are naturally unlucky. I don't know what that...
The fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean?
Means. I mean, obviously, some people are
Okay.
Born with certain disadvantages. So obviously that's true. If you mean, do I think that there are certain people who are just destined to walk into manhole covers, and then no. Do I think everybody is born with an equal level of privilege and luckiness? No. So I guess I'll say I agree. It is.
Damn! Ben Shapiro acknowledging the existence of privilege. Yeah, I think this is like a superstition thing. I don't really know.
Important that my child's school instills religious values. Strongly agree.
That separation of church and state, it's so old-fashioned, guys. Just the bedrock of, you know, modern Western democracies. No big deal, though. I'm totally a libertarian, by the way. I very strongly subscribe to libertarian values. Now, where is my state-sanctioned fucking rabbi to indoctrinate my child? Hello?
Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly agree.
I don't know how to make fun of Benny Boy, who bragged that he was a virgin till he got married, over this one here. I don't know how to make fun of him for this one, you know? No, Ben literally bragged about being a virgin for like his whole life, okay? I can't take the piss out of somebody who was already pissing. I can't make fun of him for this. He's already owned it, you know?
A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption.
Oh, no. Oh, think of your friend Dave Rubin.
So.
So. By the way, real quick, math on this one settled. Tons of studies done. No evidence that a child being raised by a same-sex couple is in any worse position than them being raised by an opposite-sex couple. No evidence. Literally none. It's been done meta-study after meta-study after meta-study. It's all factually done. There's not an argument on this anymore.
The answer is agree, but it depends on the alternative.
Damn, Ben Shapiro, what happened to facts over feelings? The factual evidence on this is settled. I know that the factual evidence on this is settled because this fucking video came out 5 days ago. I know that at the time of this release, the facts of which I am aware were also available to you. And yet, somehow feelings take precedence. How?
Have a sort of hierarchy in terms of adoption. If you're talking about a stable, loving, heterosexual couple versus a stable, loving, same-sex couple, I'll take the heterosexual couple because I don't think that mothers and fathers play the same role. If you're talking about a stable,
too bad the data disproves you on this one, buddy. Damn. Sucks to suck. Because I think men and women serve different roles. See, underneath all the libertarian nonsense, this is the exact same gender traditionalist fascism that you can see in any other fucking Republican. Ben Shapiro likes to style himself as like a, you know, an aristocratic, highfalutin, anti-Trump Republican. But at the end of the day, fundamentally, the facts are not on their side. The facts just, they're not in their favor, folks.
Loving same-sex couple versus an orphanage where kids are being ignored, then obviously I think that same-sex couples should be able to adopt.
Remember, it's okay if same-sex couples adopt, but only if they're aware of the fact that they're on a hierarchy. They exist below opposite-sex couples.
Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population.
Oh shit, is he gonna go gab.com, come out against porn?
It depends who is doing the regulation. So
Regulation? Benny Boy! Benny Boy, my libertarian friend. Why is it that every time you want government involvement, it has something to do with your religious morals? Libertarian, by the way. Damn, Benny Boy, what's up? Only through the hole in the sheet. Only through the hole.
My general answer is disagree.
Okay.
I don't think that it should be legal, but I think that it's very difficult to draw regulation that is not too heavy-handed.
Regulation? Whoa, Ben. So, hey, listen, regulations on corporations whose climate emissions are literally destroying the planet. Hey, whoa, come on, whoa. Regulation on RedTube so they can't show fucking spit roasting anymore because one man, one woman. That's what Ben's talking about. That's the government intervention he's talking about.
In this area. I don't think you have a right to pornography, though. I don't think there's an inherent right to pornography.
What happened to free speech, Ben? What happened? Listen, libertarian. The libertarian Ben. Oh, what happened? What happened to free speech, Benny boy?
What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state.
Unless they're recording themselves, you stupid piece of shit.
Strongly agree.
Unless you're recording yourself.
No one can feel naturally homosexual.
What?
Strongly disagree.
Is this like a born gay kind of question? I don't know.
And again, all these questions are designed to elicit.
He has like 6 times this video. He has to make sure everyone watching knows that he's not just responding to a simple questionnaire, but he's ducking. He's ducking. He's ducking and weaving. He's avoiding these leftist blows that are coming at him from every direction.
Responses. So the idea is that if you're religious and if you're conservative, then watch, it's going to list me as a libertarian. You'll see. You can.
So he could see any question. He'd come up on a question like, do you think it's okay to hate black people? And he would look at it for like 14 minutes and then turn towards the camera and say, well, this is obviously another question which is deceptively worded to bring about antagonism towards a conservative audience. I won't be answering this question. I will be answering a rephrased version of this question, though. If we rephrase the question as, are black people bad, then the answer is disagree, but not strongly disagree. Next question. Like, just anything.
Believe that homosexual activity is sinful on a biblical or religious level and still believe that people have natural desires to do things that are biblically sinful. I mean, that happens all the time.
Cool.
These days, openness about sex has gone too far.
True.
Strongly agree, and if you disagree, it's because I'm not sure you're a sentient human. The only...
What the fuck? Oh, nice argument, Ben. I mean, I thought we were all here for facts and figures. You know, it's factually correct that an increase in sex education in schools has led to a greater understanding of sexuality, led to less childhood pregnancies, you know. I thought that stuff was all pretty cool. I don't know why I'm getting called a coomer by Benny Boy over here, who keeps thirsting after AOC's feet. I like that he didn't even provide, like, a facsimile of an argument for me to attack.
Question here that I'm kind of torn on is the pornography question, and that's only because it's a question of gradation. I'm really wavering between disagree and agree on the legality for the adult population.
The legality.
Because, again, is it harming third parties? Generally, no.
Oh, wait, so you think you should regulate industries if there are externalities that hurt third parties? Huh. But only for porn.
I guess I'll say agree. It should be legal for the adult population. I don't know, I'm really...
He literally doesn't know whether or not porn should be legal. He actually doesn't know. Free speech, by the way. Libertarian, by the way. Massive government crackdown destroying a massive industry and censoring 3/4 of the internet, by the way.
Really torn on this. On a moral level, obviously, I think pornography is one of the great evils in our society.
How do I make fun of this? How do I make fun of someone this fucking stupid? How do I do it? Legitimately, how do I do it? With all the death and starvation, all the exploitation and greed and warmongering out there, this is one of the great evils. Sometimes you can go online and see a butthole. But that's what happens, by the way, if you're a fascist. When you're a fascist, moral outrages are infinitely more condemnable than actual acts of immorality. A moral outrage like violence in a child's video game, and make no mistake, this is a Jack Thompson type person. Moral outrage like comic books that show cleavage for the female characters. These are the evils that are corrupting our society. When you play the hair metal tracks backwards, you can hear satanic messages, or so I've heard. These are the real moral panics. And as these people are getting their panties in a twist about all this meandering nonsense, compromising their so-called libertarian positions on free speech and minimal government intervention to enforce their moral code on everyone else, real actual evil takes place, often because of these people. Often because of people like Ben Shapiro.
On a legal level, do I think that the government has the capacity to regulate it? If you're talking federally, no. Locally, yes.
What the fuck are you talking about? Local government? Like states are all going to have fucking porn task force? What do you mean? It's the fucking internet. Of course it would have to be federal if you were going to crack down on porn. How fucking stupid is Ben Shapiro? No, seriously, how stupid is he? What the fuck do you think? Oh my fucking God, I actually can't comprehend. What, like the mayorship is gonna like, oh yeah, we here in Los Angeles are very proud of our law enforcement, our police, there's our county sheriff. Here's our SWAT team. Took down a drug ring just last month, very proud of them. And here's the porn patrol. There's a new department, 87 people, cost us $8 million to set up the facility. They can't actually do anything because as it turns out, if we're limiting this task force to local jurisdiction, it actually turns out that the internet is actually contained in a bunch of decentralized servers that are spread out across the planet. And there is no possible way for any local government to ever even come close to addressing this. But Ben Shapiro said it was a pretty good idea, so
But I think that's true of a lot of things. So they don't actually make clear where the illegality is coming from. All right, let's see where I stand. It says that I am right libertarian, right, which is true.
Right libertarian on the thinnest fucking margin right there. He's libertarian because he thinks corporations should be able to get away with anything they do, but then he got knocked up a few pegs because he believes the government should be able to legislate your morality. Very libertarian. Looks like you're just right to me, my dude.
It says that I'm 6.13 on the economic right, and on the libertarian versus authoritarian score, I am slightly more libertarian. I'm negative 0.72 on that score. So that would put me closer to like Milton Friedman territory. The scale itself is really stupid. The reason the scale itself is really stupid is because I'm looking at the examples that they give. They put Hitler and Thatcher in the same category.
Pepe. Wonder why they did that. It's true, though. It's true, though. These political compass charts always have been incredibly stupid. They don't really meaningfully determine people's political affiliations. However, I think what we can come to sort of a concrete conclusion on after all this nonsense is that Ben Shapiro is ideologically incoherent. He is not by any means a libertarian. He wants the government to grow massive and legislate his morality and enforce it over all the good, honest, hardworking folk of this country. So after you're done with your unregulated 12-hour shift at the factory that you got to enjoy with your 8-year-old son because all fucking federal regulations have been repealed concerning labor laws, then you get to go home and not even jerk off to some porn because Ben Shapiro has dedicated 98% of the treasury towards the anti-porn task force. What an absolute horrible fucking human being. Everything he believes in is designed to maximize misery for as many people as possible. Just an extraordinary effort. But remember, his views are not his own. His views are the views of the people who pay him. After all, why else would they be giving him hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars and enormous amounts of paid promotion if they were not expecting him to, regurgitate the political values that they find most financially beneficial? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Now, I, of course, my values are reflective of who gives me money. And that's why it's such a good thing that all the people who give me money are so based in epic comrades. Wouldn't you say? Just phenomenal people over here. Vosh, that's disingenuous. People like Shapiro are evil, but his opinions are genuine. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think there's any fundamental, I don't believe there's any, fundamental assumption of sincerity that we should offer grifters like this. Ben Shapiro has literally said, yeah, global warming is happening, sure, but why is it a big deal? If you live by the coast, you can sell your house. Do you really think that's something he independently came up with, thought of, and then went with publicly because he thought it was a good idea? Or was this just him desperately trying to play to a party line that he has to meet in order for him to, be financed by the billionaires who keep his show afloat? I don't know. It's possible. Many of his positions are sincere. I do believe he sincerely hates gay people, but I think that his ideological inconsistency is in large part a product of his financial, him being financially compromised.